Well, once again, a very, very warm welcome here to the LeMieux National Dressage Championships. We're in the fan zone. We've had some great interviews already. Bobby, we've got Lewis Carrier with us now. It's back to dressage land we go and back to the riders we go, because we had a doctor last time.
Yes, definitely, and it's really interesting to be able to talk to you. You know, you are the up-and-coming. I mean, you've done an incredible job already in your career going from the young horses through to the Grand Prix. Just tell us a little bit about your journey through the young horses.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me here. So my main horse that I have here, actually, who's taken me through Young Rider Europeans and under 25s. I've had him since he was 4. He's now 14, and yeah, he's just a horse in a million. He's done so well. We did, I think we won an elementary winters back in the day. It's still when it was sort of open, and now he's doing Grand Prix at the Nationals. Our first year doing Grand Prix Nationals, so yeah, it's exciting. But yeah, I've got a small yard at home with some owners' horses and a few that I own myself. But so yeah, it's exciting. Yeah.
And when we look at the young horses and when you ride them, what's your favourite part about starting the journey with the young horses through to the Grand Prix?
I think it's the progression. It's seeing the horses every day, day in, day out, and progress and train on. It's so rewarding. It's definitely so rewarding. When you finally crack something, you know, the change in the horses, and then sometimes when you sit back and you look back over the year and you find out, God, that's where I was at the beginning of the year, and now look where we are. Yeah, it's just, you know, when I look back at when I first had Diego, he was very difficult, and now where he's just so easy, and he's doing Grand Prix and he's doing a fantastic job of it.
And it does make you very proud, doesn't it, as a rider, knowing that you've done that yourself. But every rider has a type. I mean, obviously, my horse is not going to be 18 hands because I'm quite short. But what's the type of thing that you look for in a horse?
Definitely not a good temperament. I think you can have all the movement in the world, but unless you can train the horses, you're not going to get very far. I think it's trying to find the balance, trying to find a really nice moving horse, a really good walk, really good canter, and trainability, for sure.
And you talked about looking back, and if we look way, way, way back, your family weren't equestrian. They were actually in the military. So tell us about your introduction to the sport, to horses, why you chose dressage.
Yeah, my parents weren't really horsey at all. It just came up very, very sort of randomly, really. I think there was a fairly local riding school in our area, and I did a few little bits and bobs here and there, and then Mum sort of said one day, oh, why don't we get a pony? And there was a livery yard down the road, and that's sort of how it happened. Sort of did the riding on the side of being in school, and that's how it progressed, really. There was my trainer at the time, who I eventually found, she trained at the livery yard. Diana Fisher, her husband Mark Fisher is the saddler for Team GB. Just so you know, it's a small world. It's strange, and that's sort of, you know, she helped me get the connections and sort of work my way up, and here we are. So yeah.
And you've had a lot of good input over the years. Tell us about some of the names that you've kind of worked with and trained with.
I went to Hartbury College because I thought, you know, after my GCSEs, I thought, well, I'm going to have to go. It was the decision was to either go to drama school in London or go to Hartbury and to pursue horses properly, and that's what I did. I was there for a short time. I had a lot of influence by Nick Burton and then a little bit with Carl at the time, and then I actually moved on from Hartbury and started working for the Arlbergs. For the Arlberg family, I was there for about 4.5 years, and they sort of taught me everything I knew, all of the proper basics, and it was a fantastic time. It was tough, it was hard work, but I'm so grateful for all of the things that I can take forward now. And then after that, I went to Anna Ross, worked for her for a year, very different part of the industry. It was really good as well, working with lots of young horses in a more sort of sale environment, and then I made the decision to sort of set up on my own, and I've been at home now for 2 or 3 years, and yeah, it's going brilliantly. Now I'm sort of wanting to work with my own string of horses and start to push my career on my own. Yeah.
And do you think it helps working with that kind of variety of trainers? You know, picking the little bits you like from each one and forming your own style. Is that how it works?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm very grateful now to be training with Carl Hester, which is just fantastic. It's something I've waited a long time for, and now I'm working with him. I think definitely over the years I've had so many different inputs. I've worked with Isabel Vessels a little bit as well, but yeah, there's so many different things that I've taken from lots of different people. I think it's still, you know, it's good to have consistency with a trainer, but over the years I have had a lot of variety, and I think that's definitely helpful as well, because every trainer has something different to say.
How did you manage to end up training with Carl? Because he must get like thousands of requests. So how did that work?
Well, my trainer when I was younger, Diana Fisher, she actually's been training with Carl for a very long time. And I think I messaged him when I was about 13 and was like, "Will you send him a friend request on Facebook?" Obviously, he didn't accept it. But no, I think now I've started to do a little bit more, pushed up into the under-25 Grand Prix and doing a little more on the senior stuff. I spoke to him at a show while we were away at the Europeans in Hagen last year, and I eventually got in there. But no, it's fantastic.
And of course, the big question from that is, has he accepted your friend request now?
I don't think he has, actually.
Okay, we need to work on that.
I might speak to him in a couple of weeks' time.
Are you friends on Facebook with Carl Hester?
I think I might, but that's probably because he wanted to make sure what I was commentating when I was commentating on him. But yeah.
And in terms of trainers, Bobby, we were just talking obviously about having that variety. You've kind of had that a little bit as well, but obviously with your dad having a big input as well. So I think you would agree that it is important.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have the variety, because at the end of the day, you'll take a lot from everybody. I think the biggest thing for me was to find somebody that adapted to me, to the extent of, like, I train with Emma Hindle now. She's the exact same height as me. It's really important. Yeah. Dad's great, love him to pieces, but he's got longer legs, and if I have to listen to one more, lengthen your leg, they're not going to. It's what I've got. So I think it's really important. You take a lot from them. But it was interesting there when you said that you've been to a lot of yards. Do you think it's really important for the younger generation coming up to experience that yard life?
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of young people can think, oh gosh, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm just going to go and do it. I'm going to set up my own place. I'm going to do it. I think getting the experience like I did from the Arbergs is 100% needed. I think I was very naive when I first started out, and I was so grounded after working for them. You need that experience in a proper professional environment, and I think I would encourage any young person to do that first before they even consider setting up on their own or thinking that they can do it themselves.
And how different is it from being, obviously, someone being your boss and running a yard and telling you what to do, to suddenly having all that responsibility with your own horses, owners' horses, and then a yard now?
Yeah, it was definitely a big jump. I wanted that drive. I wanted it to be like, yeah, I want to set up my own, I want to do it. But you then realise when you start doing it yourself, all of the things that you didn't have to think about when you were working for someone, like bills and just everything. You suddenly when you're working on your own yard and you're doing everything, everything's your responsibility. But it's exciting, and I think it takes a bit of a leap of faith to do it. But I definitely think it was the right decision.
And so when you start doing the yard, do you teach from there as well, or are you starting the teaching? Have you got quite a big client base?
Yeah, over the last couple of years, I've built up the client base around my area. I sort of have like a 30-40 minute radius at the yard. I have a few people come to my yard. I try not to have too many because it's a sort of a small private yard. But yeah, there are some really nice arenas around that I go to, and I get a small clinic, and yeah, I teach most days. But yeah, it's really good.
And how do you find that, say, doing the riding? Okay, riding is what we know. That's what we did first. Do you find it quite difficult to portray it sometimes across to one of your clients, just to say, no, if you just did it like that, it would work?
Yeah, there are definitely times when I'm sort of teaching someone and helping someone on the ground, and I think, I just wish I could get on. But I think there's definitely a different skill to teaching someone how to ride than to just doing it yourself, because of course I think as riders, when you're doing it for years, you just do things and you don't sort of think about it, and then suddenly when you're having to teach someone to do it, you have to then think about it a little bit more. And I think it's a skill which takes time, I think, teaching people, but yeah, it's different.
And tell us about the pressure of representing your country as well, because that's something that you've done. Is it different when you're riding under your flag than in just going to a normal competition, or?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's the pinnacle of our sport, riding for our country. Apart from being at the biggest shows here in our country, like here at the Nationals, competing for your country, especially abroad, is just it's exciting, and it makes me very proud. And I don't think I'd want. I think it's going to be very difficult to try and get on a senior team for Olympics, because we are Team GB and we are very good. But I don't think it would be the same if I changed nationality and did it for somewhere else. I think Team GB is what I want to do it for. So yeah, it just makes me extremely proud.
And do you ever struggle with pressure? Do you ever work on sort of mental health, or are you just naturally chilled and relaxed?
I like the pressure of a show. I like the pressure of being here and wanting to do well and to win. I think, it's being at a show and getting in the mind and the focus is not something I worry about too much. I think they're different. I think the competition is quite nice. I think working at home and doing all the other things is actually more difficult. Suddenly, when you're at a show, you've got a few horses and you're doing the competition. Actually, it's the highlight of what we do. So actually, I enjoy it a lot.
What about you, Bobby? Because I think it's something we're starting to identify more, is that kind of need for sort of mental health coach. And other sports have had it for so many years. Do you think that's something that we are getting there with yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes into the competition, everybody it gets nerves and they feel it in a different way. Whether it's obvious or not, at some point there will be nerves. And I think it's so important that everyone understands that everyone feels that way.
Yeah.
There is no way that all the top riders in the world go down that centre line and feel totally cool about it, like they're sat on a sofa watching a movie. It's not the case. At some point during that competition, you're going to feel the nerves. And I think it's really important that now we accept that is actually a thing, and to have a plan input. I mean, it's taken me a long time. When I was younger, I always had a lot of quirky horses, and I think, I remember Peter Storr saying to me once, Bobby, that was the fastest test I've ever seen anyone do in my life. And I just wanted to get out of that arena quicker than anything, and especially at the Europeans for the ponies, I was exactly the same. I've had to learn to go in and not override. That's when I get nervous. That's what I do. I override, and I think if I just do it really quickly, I can just get off. And actually, I've had to learn to think, no, I've got to do it this way. But, we're very proud people, and at the same time, we are absolutely perfectionists. To admit that you get in there and you overrode, you had an insecurity, was incredibly difficult. But I think now that I understand that and I've had help with it, the way you go in is different. You're so secure and you're so happy in yourself and what you're doing that I really recommend for anybody that thinks, I can't actually talk about it, do. And you'll be exactly the same with on the world class. I mean, how much help we would get on the world class is incredible.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've been on the world class program now this will be my final year on P3. I've got on it for a maximum of 4 years, and yeah, it's fantastic, the support that we have through everything, and sort of winning mindset is one of the things that are covered there. It's definitely amazing to have that support, and again, for young people, I think having that support at the beginning is definitely crucial.
And thinking about a sort of change indoors moment almost, tell us about drama school. How could your life have turned out?
I don't know. I think I don't know really. I mean, the offer that I had at the time was when I was a bit younger, and I was offered the part of playing Oliver Twist in London. It meant sort of having to live there in London, sort of give up school and have to sort of homeschool there. And my parents just sort of said, "Oh no, we're not doing that." So that's why we didn't do it. Really, they want me to carry on my education and then do something and branch off. But yeah, I don't know. I'd still like to sort of go back to doing something like that again.
I was going to ask, is that door firmly closed, or?
No, definitely not. I think if I got the part of something again, or if an extra came up in a TV show or a movie, I'd definitely say yes.
Can you sing then? Can you?
Yeah, I can. I'm not going to do any now, but
never say yes in an interview that you can sing.
No, I can't.
It's quite fascinating though to find out, that you've got that extra talent. Is there any crossover between the two, do you think?
A little bit. I used to do my freestyles for my music. Actually, this show is my first show that I've had someone else do it, which is a bit strange because I really like doing the music. It takes a lot of time, but I really like because you feel like one with the music and you know it inside and out. But yeah, I think my musical background has definitely helped with creating the freestyles going forward, and that's riding the freestyles at the Grand Prix is something I really love doing, and maybe the musical background has definitely helped with that.
I love the freestyle. Do you have a sort of music taste? Because Bobby's is most definitely Disney. That's all she's got is Disney. We're off under the sea when Bobby comes down the centre line. So do you have a genre that you stick to?
To be fair, I do love a bit of Disney actually. Disney Tron, but Tron is it's more electronic. It's not like your classical music. Tron is more sort of like electronic, old school sort of 80s vibe. I mean, it's actually produced by Daft Punk, so yeah, it's a good Disney film, and I really like the musical score from it. And actually, that's what I'll be writing to. Half of my music is from the musical Tron, but I think more a bit poppy, but something quite really impactful.
Have you heard Richard Davison's music?
I think I may have seen it at Olympia last year.
Has he still got that same track?
He has. He has.
Yeah.
It's very modern.
He's cooler than all of us put together.
He is. Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, I think I saw it at Olympia last year, actually.
Yeah, it's very modern, and you can just see him coming down. I always think it's dubstep. It's not dubstep, but it could really be dubstep, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's as close as dubstep as you'll ever get.
Yeah.
I'm looking on your BEF profile. It said you're a romantic.
Oh gosh.
It says that on there. Maybe you need to change that.
How embarrassing.
But now that you
was
have
written a few years ago.
Tell us a little bit about that, because you have just got engaged.
I have, yes. No, I would say I am a romantic. I think I could still do better, but yeah, I don't know. I suppose I like that romantic musical genre as well. Bit of soul, but no, I do like a good rom-com as well. I don't mind saying that.
And tell us about your engagement.
Yeah, so I got engaged earlier this year to my lovely fiancée Olivia, and she's a Canadian international dressage rider as well, and she does a lot with PR and marketing. But our wedding is hopefully in a couple of years' time. Everything's sort of going into place now. I think we've got a meeting soon with our I don't know what you call them.
I love to see how embarrassed and awkward men get when they have to talk about their weddings.
With our wedding organizer.
Wedding planner, maybe?
Planner, there you go.
There
that's the one. Yeah. But yeah, no, we've got a couple of years, so I've got time to sort of get into it. Yeah.
And you mentioned she rides under the Canadian flag. Is she based here now, or?
She is, yeah. Yeah, her Canadian citizenship is through her parents.
Right,
okay.
In
the UK.
So she's based in the UK. Oh, it's fascinating, isn't it? We found out lots today.
We have, and also, so just a very quick question here. We talk about home team and obviously sponsors. Now, you're working with Equisage as well. Why is it so important to have the sponsors and have the support from them?
It's so important, and I think especially for riders like myself or that are slightly younger and don't have the money or experience to sort of do everything that you get them with sponsors. A little bit of funding and the kit and the support that those sponsors give you, it is really crucial. Having something like the Equisage, I think has really benefited me this year. I've been working with Equisage now for I want to say probably about 6 months, and since using the Equisage, it's really helped. I think all my horses' performance is something that we can just use every day, but it's brilliant. I think having sponsors is we can't take it for granted, because they give us so much, and it's so it's so beneficial. But I think it's difficult to get them, but I think we just got to keep ourselves out there and keep performing for them, and just keep saying to them how much we appreciate what they do for us.
Well, it is a massive partnership, isn't it, really? Because, when it comes to sponsorship, people actually that are trying to get sponsors and learning about that, they don't quite realise that it's a give and take. You can't just take all the time. You have to give back. And I think it's always really important. So it's good when you start talking about your sponsors, about actually how they've helped you in your season, for example, like the Equisage, like that. It's great to hear.
2 final quick questions. One of them's easier than the other. First one, best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, best advice. That's a difficult one, because I've been given a lot of good advice over the years. Yeah. I'm trying to find a good one. I think stay grounded and stay humble. Okay. Yes, that's gonna be my best.
That's a good one.
And a tough question that no one's managed to answer yet. What's the worst advice you've ever been given?
Oh, the worst advice. Get into horses. No, I'm joking, of course. I don't know. I can't say. I don't know. Worst advice. I don't know. Probably nothing to do with horses. That's probably why.
There we go. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
And we've still got more to come. Another 2 interviews to do today.
Yes, we have Isabel Vessels and Danny Morgan, which would be really good. We'll talk to Isabel from a judge's perspective, which is fantastic. And then we'll talk from Danny from a rider's perspective again.
Perfect. Well, stay with us here in the fan zone at the LeMieux National Dressage Championships.